Welcome to another All Things Football podcast with Tony and Dan and a special guest in Alex, EuroExpert. How are we doing, guys?
Very good. Thank you for having me on.
Well, it was good to have you earlier in the week in a space, which if you are a follower of our Twitter page, Football Things A, you would have seen that. But now as we've got a bigger audience on YouTube, we thought we'll get Alex on again and get more people in. Despite, even though the Community Shield is on at the same time, we should get a few people in. But how are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing good, Tony. I'm very happy that you're here, Alex. It was great time. It was a great debate we had on the space. So I'm just very happy that you're going to be part of the YouTube video, and we've got a lot to discuss. A lot has been happening in the football world. So
yeah, it has. Yeah.
Get started.
Well, it's crazy. So, I think we did the space on Tuesday, and then since then, 2 big transfers have been done, which is crazy. Thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's Lukaku and Messi.
Grealish.
My God, yeah.
And Grealish.
Didn't even think of that.
All since we last spoke.
Let's start with the Grealish news, because so I wanted to get your thoughts on here. Thoughts on the £100 million Grealish move. For me personally, even though Grealish is a great player, yeah, I've got strong opinions on it anyway. But I'll get to that at the end. I want you two to voice your opinions on it. What's your thoughts on Grealish joining Man City?
I think that my only worry is his injury record. I think besides that, that's the only thing that makes you worry about the price tag. The Grealish's stats that are genuinely world class. I've called Grealish world class before and got criticism for it, but last season he only made 26 appearances or 26 starts. I think it might have been 26 appearances or starts. I think it's 25 starts, 26 appearances. Whatever. He missed so many more games than most people, but he completed the most dribbles into the penalty box in all of Europe. More than Messi, more than Mbappe, more than Neymar. He was the best. To me, that was an insane stat. In the Premier League, I think only Kevin De Bruyne averaged more shot-creating actions per 90. In terms of a creative threat, there's very, very few better in all of Europe at the moment than Jack Grealish. And I think he's proven himself. I don't think this is a flash in the pan thing. Even in his first season, he's incredibly good. Like I said, just the injury record. The injury record for me scares me. But besides that, I'm very hot on this transfer. I'm very hot on it.
You obviously rate transfers out of 10. What would you have given that transfer then if you made a video on it?
I think I gave it a 9. I think the injury record was the one that threw me off, but I gave it a 9.
Fair enough. He is very good. I wish if Arsenal had Champions League football, I wish we would have gone for him, and I think Dan shares the same opinion.
To be honest, Tony, what about you?
I'm delighted with the signing. I love Jack Grealish. I absolutely love him, but I don't think he is the next Beckham, as most people do think, if they are rating him. But I think he will be a good signing. But I don't see him going for another big fee, though, another 150, 160 million pounds. So I think it was just made for an instant impact, not ready for the future or made for profit, really.
That's interesting. Guys, I have got the most controversial opinions to both of you. I actually think it's a terrible signing for Man City. I actually think it's a terrible signing. I'll tell you why. It's because of the way Pep, because the type of player Grealish is individually. For me, Grealish made the wrong move. You know what I mean? I feel like Grealish made the wrong. I'll explain why. Because in Villa, Grealish has more freedom. When you're talking about Grealish, he's the focal point. He's their creative focal point. He's the one that they rely on for the goals. The managers who come into Villa tend to give him the freedom of the pitch. Now with Pep, it's no secret that every creative player that Pep has had, he's limited their creative exposure. Look at, for example, I'll give you Riyad Mahrez. Similar type of profile to Grealish, except the only difference is on the right-hand side. He likes to dribble. He likes to go past the player. He's limited. People could argue he's limited his creative freedom. Another player I would argue is probably Sterling. Sterling at Liverpool was way more creative than he is at Man City. So for me, Grealish individually picked the wrong move because it limited what makes him special, and that's his dribbling, creative aspect of the game. That's what majority he does. That's 70% of his game, the dribbling aspect of it. And as you said, he does it more than Messi. He has more than Messi. So, like for me personally, individually, he made the wrong move, and it's the way Pep sees him. Because I saw Pep's press conference when he was talking about Grealish. He described him as an 8. He described him as an 8 profile, which surprised me a lot because, like, if you're just seeing Grealish as an 8, how are you going to put him and De Bruyne in the same team? Like, for me, that unbalances your team structure. So for me personally, especially for Grealish, I personally think it's not the best move they could have made. You know what I mean? And I don't think Grealish will have the same success at Villa than he will at Man City because of the way Pep limits the creative freedom of his players. I'll give you another example that just popped to my head. Eto'o, another creative player, limited. He had problems with Pep because of this. He felt limited. There's only so much he could do. Another player as well, Henry.
I think Eto's a good example of it, but I'd say that I don't think Pep limits creative players. I think it's more that so you think of Sterling and Mahrez is a perfect example. At Leicester, all the play went through him, so his numbers were boosted. At City, there's like 4 or 5 other Mahrezes in the first 11. So of course Mahrez is not going to be the sole output. Like the plays shared between them, and even Mahrez and Sterling, even though Mahrez isn't getting like 20 to 30 goal contributions like he did at Leicester last season, he still got it here like 15. He's still a valuable cog in the side. So I think, like I go say individually, I think if Grealish went to like I don't know if he had gone to an Arsenal or something, then the play would have carried on going through him. But in terms of winning trophies and things like that, like I think he's still going to be fitted well into this Man City team. I just say, like individually, might see his goal contributions take away, but if the rest of the team's picking up, then I don't know. From a team perspective, I think it balances out.
I just feel like personally, for me, individually, Grealish, 70% of his game comes through that creative output he makes. And let's face it, that Man City team doesn't need any more creation. Unless he's going to be banging in goals, at least Mahrez has that goal output. 70% of Grealish's game is the creative aspect of it. And Grealish, how many goals does Grealish score last season?
10, I think. I can't remember. But it was definitely high considering. I'll have a look. But, as I was thinking, I see Grealish as being like a Gundogan, like rotation with Gundogan for now.
But I think profiles. Those are two different profiles.
I'd say Grealish has said himself. He even said during the England Cup he wants to play down the middle as like the attacking midfielder. So you can't really get that at City, but City's system so like their team's so high level that I can see him fitting into a team with, especially if Bernardo Silva leaves. I can see him fitting into a team with De Bruyne as both of them as the 8s, and then a Rodri in defensive midfield, and then you've got.
Mate, don't you think that leaves Man City weaker defensively? They're more defensively liable.
Yeah, but then you've still got Ruben Dias, Laporte, like Johnson, like even if they're slightly weaker defensively, it's Man City. They won't be conceding like very, very many goals. And though Grealish and De Bruyne should be able to press well from the front anyway.
I'm just looking. Grealish scored 6, and of course, EuroExpert being the expert got it spot on. 26 starts. He's not a stalker of Grealish. You must quote.
See, the problem with me is the way Pep likes to operate. He operates in 5 channels, and that's completely opposite of how Aston Villa used him this season. They made him as the ball carrying midfielder. You literally carry the ball from deep within his half, from the first channel to the second phase to the third phase, all the way up front to create chances for his teammate. And I just feel personally he'll be limited of that aspect because of the way Pep would use it, in my opinion. and I just don't see him as an 8. You know what I mean? And he described him as an 8. So unless you're going to using him as an 8, you're not getting the best out of him.
It wouldn't be like a traditional 8 though. Like it wouldn't be like a, I don't know, what's a good example? It wouldn't be like a Mason Mount in a Chelsea 4-3-3. Like City's 8s are forwards in themselves. I don't know. I think he's going to be like, I'm not sure this is the right word. It's just not all the play will be going through him. I don't think it's specifically Man City that he'll stuff like. If he went to like a Man United or a Chelsea or anywhere else, he wouldn't be getting the same amount of the ball and the attention he does from Aston Villa. So I think that drop off's always going to happen to somewhat. It'll just see. It's just going to be a measure of how much raw ability is there and how much he gets done with the touches he gets. So I guess his touch is the contribution value. That'll be an interesting thing to look at.
Yeah, because obviously Grealish, I'm not like even I was listening to when the chief executive made the reasons why he was leaving. I'm not sure if you've seen that, Alex. Have you?
Sorry?
As a neutral, had you seen that video that the CEO of Aston Villa had put on?
I had not. No, I had not.
He was explaining why he allowed him to leave, and it was interesting that he was saying that he felt that they relied too much on Jack, and that's why they waited a long time to then replace him with the 3 players: Buendia, Ings, and Bailey. I might be wrong.
Yeah, Bailey, yeah.
So I think it will be better for Villa in a long sense. They get to rely on more than 3 people now instead of just the one Jack Grealish. As that may sound, as an Arsenal fan, I felt like they did heavily rely on Grealish. Like you could see their form dipped quite a bit when he got injured. Ollie Watkins did well, but obviously he needs that creative output, which they didn't have, and that's why they were looking at Smith Rowe as an option, which obviously he signed a 5-year deal. So
I think it's a better Villa for Villa than Man City because like Villa, as you said, they're getting so much money that they're reinvest. They're going to do what Leicester kind of did and just transform their team into top 7, top 8, and regularly competing there just in the sale of Grealish.
I'm just slightly worried, but anyway, that's just me because I wanted him at Arsenal. I always wanted a left-handed side trades, and either Grealish or Sancho would have been perfect for me. But the only exception for that, for me personally, is Maddison. But I just like Grealish anyway. I would love him at Arsenal, so maybe that's why my bias is coming through. But speaking about this deal, for me, another reason why this deal is huge is because of the knock-on effect it has in Europe. You know what I mean? So now Grealish going to Aston Villa. Chelsea would normally, you know how Chelsea do when Man City make a big signing. They always like to react, with the big signing of their own. And this leads me into our next point in Lukaku, which I found, which I was shocked that we go for a striker, considering the fact I felt like that's not what they needed. But although Lukaku is a very good player, I just felt like there's other areas they could have spend the money elsewhere. But what I found interesting is now that the Grealish deal has been done, the knock-on effect to other clubs. So, for example, you have Grealish has gone to Man City. Aston Villa have money to spend. Now Chelsea, I've seen that Man City want Grealish. They want to make their own statement because, that's the type of person Abramovich is. He doesn't like to get outdone. He will want to outdo the person. So that's why they're going to go and get Lukaku. The money that Inter have now got, they'll go and use it to buy probably a right back, which is what they needed in Hector Bellerin. Or, for example, or spend the money on Zapata, who they want from Atalanta. That then Atalanta will then have money to go get Abraham from Chelsea. So the knock-on effects from just one big deal is actually massive, and it's now going to be an interesting window, I think, from a neutral's perspective. It's going to be interesting to see what transfers pay out now.
I'm interested to go back to what you said about where do you think Chelsea could have invested better into their squad than striker?
I feel centre back.
Yeah. Really? They've got, in Rudiger, Christensen, Thiago Silva, they've got a fantastic defence there.
Yes.
Then you go behind them. We've got Ethan Ampadu coming through, who's I think he proved himself to a Premier League standard as well. You got Kurt Zuma. I guess if they sell, he'll be okay. I don't know. And then Aspilicueta can drop in there. Reece James. I think the centre back. If you said about maybe an area, but they literally I don't think they have an actual striker. Like Havertz is, I think Tuchel called him a half nine, which is accurate. Timo Werner's not really equipped to be the sole striker in Chelsea's system. I think Lukaku is the most needed. I think they did need that number 9.
Yeah, I feel like they did need Lukaku or a striker, because Werner didn't perform as well as Chelsea fans expected. And as this is another cheeky plug, EuroExpert made a video on the best leagues for certain things, which I thoroughly enjoyed watching. It was very detailed. That obviously Bundesliga goalkeepers, if I quote, was the worst league for goalkeepers compared to the Premier League.
Yes.
So obviously that is why Werner struggled as much. As you said, like James Sancho, you don't expect him to do so well as well. But I feel like they need potentially, like Thiago Silva, he's like 36 coming up to 37. Maybe they want to get a long-term replacement for him in Koundé, which they are. I'm not sure what the status is on that. Do you know anything on that, Dan or Alex?
It seems dead in the water at the moment. I think they were close to agreeing, but then Sevilla backed out and said we do not want Kurt Zuma, which I can understand.
Yeah,
I heard that Kurt Zuma didn't want to go there.
Was it? I don't know. Maybe.
Interesting.
I think I saw that as well, and it was. I think we all know he rejected West Ham outright.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think West Ham's his level. I think West Ham's Kurt Zuma's level, to be honest.
Well, after that serious injury that he got, I think that hindered him quite a bit. It's going to be unfortunate the same as Wesley Fofana from Leicester. Now, as he's injured probably 9 months to a year, will he ever get back to that high potential?
Yeah, I get what you're coming from. With Zuma, though, for me, I think physically he's still great. It's just his in-game mind is broken. Like the amount of times you watch him fail to track someone making a run, the amount of times you watch him watch him fail to anticipate a pass.
You're saying his defensive awareness is poor.
Yeah, I think it's dreadful.
Yeah, okay. Oh,
I think
I would agree.
Go on.
No, I'm saying I would agree. Carry on.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say that because I think some people as well. I remember saying this, and a lot of people were saying, "Look, no, Zuma is a very, very good centre back." And my counter to it is, Zuma in the Premier League, he is the best centre back, or maybe the best player at corners. Like I don't think I can remember someone being as threatening from him, as threatening as him from a corner. So the question you have to ask is, why would Thomas Tuchel give up the threat of like a potential threat of a goal from a corner nearly every game? Why would he give that up for seemingly no reason? And to me, it's that I think the reason, if you can't see his defensive awareness, you can look at that and say, okay, it's clearly a reason that Tuchel's giving up a chance for another goal, because he must think that the chance of conceding one also goes up within the side.
Yeah. As we were saying,
that's why you need a better centre back in Koundé. I felt like they needed a centre back more than they needed a striker. Don't get me wrong. I think Lukaku's one of the best number 9s out there. There's no better number 9 out there. But I felt like centre back was more important. And I was going to say, on a business perspective, it was a terrible deal compared to the Haaland deal. But I guess I have to go back on my word on that now, but due to the fact that, Lukaku's one of the best number 9s out there. But yeah, I see your point. I see you guys' point. Do you guys feel like they went for the better deal here over Haaland?
No.
No. No, I don't think so. I think Haaland would have been perfect for them, especially as he's German speaking. We're good to maybe unleash Havertz and Werner, help Tuchel out a lot more, and it's a longer project. You could get at least 10 years in him, and Haaland even 15 possibly. Well, Lukaku, I don't know how it is.
I agree with you guys, but if I'm thinking it from like a business perspective, Haaland makes more sense because he's going to be the all-round best number 9 in the Prem. Not best in the Prem, sorry, best in the world, one of the best in the world. But if you're thinking from Chelsea's perspective, did Chelsea do this every year? Where they just go crazy and spend ridiculous amount of money on a player, no matter on the age, just as long as it makes a statement. That's why I would argue that, no offense, Chelsea didn't need Havertz last season when they had Mason Mount there. Because a Lukaku shoots more on Mount than he does a Havertz. So That's what I feel. Also, on Lukaku, I must admit, I'm more frightened of Lukaku than Haaland.
You're more
Because
frightened of Lukaku than Haaland.
Yeah, because Haaland. This is why. Haaland maybe in a few years. Lukaku is complete now. Like now. Like this is the best Lukaku we're gonna see. Bear in mind he's already has Premier League experience. And remember how he killed in the Premier League last time and before he left at Everton. I just feel like he's more complete than he's ever been. And one of the biggest criticisms of Lukaku was his out towards in run coming from the left-hand side, which is drastically improved. So a better Lukaku is a dangerous Lukaku, in my opinion. And he is one of the best nines out there for his price. I most certainly would say that, most definitely. And I would think if you want to play right here and right now, there's no other player better than Lukaku. If you're thinking business-wise, long-term objective, yes, it's obviously Haaland. But Chelsea don't think like that way. So if I'm thinking from a Chelsea perspective, Haaland for their price is not a bad deal to do anyway.
I don't know. I mean, I will admit I've watched more of Haaland and Lukaku, but I've seen Haaland do things I don't think I've seen any other striker do. Like I remember my biggest standout game was Wolfsburg v Dortmund. Dortmund were down to 10 men. It was like I think it was Dortmund were winning 1-0, so Wolfsburg had them trapped in their box, and Haaland was up front against like the people like Lacroix and Brooks, one of the best defenses in the Bundesliga last season. I think up there in Europe as well. And Haaland just took the sword to them. Like he ran riot by himself. Like I've never seen a player do that. And I'm someone who thinks Mbappe's better than him, but I've never seen Mbappe cause that much havoc. I think right now Haaland is top 5 in the world strikers, and I think Lukaku's brilliant. But I mean, my biggest hot take, I said it on a stream the other day, like because some Chelsea fans thought for some reason they were going to get Messi before I brought them down to planet Earth. But I said, out of Messi, Haaland, Lukaku, in an order of taking them, I would take Haaland, then Messi, then Lukaku.
Oh, 100%. And I'm talking but 100%, I totally agree with you on that. But I'm just saying to a pushback to that is, Haaland's not complete yet. He's good, yeah. He's raw, but he's raw. You know what I mean? When I'm talking about complete forwards, the players that have experience, who've been in the Prem and understand how to get goals now, and that's Lukaku. But 100%, I agree with you. If you gave me a chance to order it, obviously Haaland's going to be above Lukaku.
I think Haaland would take the same amount of goals as Lukaku right now. Still, I think that Haaland's that good. Like his all-round game is super. I can't think of anything that needs. Like he's going to improve, and I'm not saying he's the best in the world at everything he does, but I don't think there's any obvious weakness in his game. I think he used to be his link-up play, but over the season that's really improved too. I think right now it's why I would have said even though Haaland, especially in wages, would have cost a lot, still quite a bit more. If you're splashing the cash, I still would have rather taken Haaland than Lukaku.
Yeah. So
it'll be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see, as I said, how the effects of these deals trickle down the window. It'll be interesting to see what clubs do with this money. As I previously mentioned, haven't you guys noticed how now you're seeing one club buys another player, that club would then have to react and buy a replacement, and how it's trickling down throughout the window. So it'll be interesting to see. I think this will be one of the biggest transfer windows ever.
Yeah.
Sure.
Bonkers. Everywhere besides La Liga. That place is in the bin.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think La Liga. You would think La Liga would be doing the big spending, the Real Madrids and Barcelona's, not PSG as such.
But Barcelona and Real Madrid have no one to blame but themselves. Their irresponsibility and finances have been huge.
You should take some within some land, because I'm just hearing that a report is saying that they have close to liquidation.
But that's not because of their irresponsibility with finances. That's something to do with the owner.
Yeah, the owner
It's
thing,
investment.
increasing
That's
funds.
investment. I doubt again they would probably sell Lautaro Martinez with that Lukaku money they have now.
Oh no! Okay.
But that Lukaku, mate, I'll always say this. For me, I would prefer to get Isaac over Lautaro Martinez. I'm not a fan of Lautaro Martinez.
Yeah, I remember you.
I'm
I
not
think
a fan.
you brought me around a bit last time. I still like Martinez, but I think Isaac makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
You've failed to convince me. Now I'm live, and there's evidence of this. You have not convinced me, Alex. To go with Isaac. I'm still
Just
not
look at the stats. It's not even just about stats all round for me. Isaac is better. Don't forget, yeah, Isaac is performing in a worse team. Do you know how good that Inter Milan team is?
Yes,
Yeah,
of course I do.
Barella,
But the thing is, what was his output the season before last? Do you know, Dan?
Who, Martinez's or Isaac's?
Isaac's. The season, not this season. That's just been the one before.
I didn't.
So
I have to check.
I'll get up.
Okay, because I'll explain why I'm asking you this. Who was Real Sociedad's number 10?
Oh, what, the season before last?
Yeah.
Odegaard.
Yeah.
And
So I tell you what, this is how I see it in my eyes. If we want to go for Maddison, go for Martinez. If we go for Odegaard, bring Isaac in.
How? Mate,
with Odegaard in the team, Isaac started 14 games and scored 9 goals and got 1 assist.
So does contrast. So maybe, but then Isaac.
With if you brought in Isaac and Maddison, I'll guarantee you right now. I'll put money on the line. They get 24 goal contributions together. 20 plus right now. If we bought Isaac and Maddison, they get 20 plus goal contributions. They will not get that with Martinez. I'll tell you, Martinez is his efficiency output is very poor. Very poor. I mean, you guys mentioned how Isaac doesn't score enough chances. He has a better goal conversion rate. He scores more goals. The only pushback when you're talking about goals is that him and Lautaro Martinez scored the same amount of headed goals. Overall, Isaac is better. Go check the stats.
I'll just ask EuroExpert. EuroExpert, it's down to you.
Well, I'm checking the stats. So, I remember, yeah. Well, Isaac converted this season 21% of his shots. Martinez hasn't really off. He converted 16% of his shots. I will say as well, it's just like we did conclude that Isaac was he was a little inconsistent last year, but he's very young as well. Whereas Martinez, he was more consistent, but arguably performing at a less higher level, especially because he's in the front two. But at the same time, you could flip that back the other way and say Lukaku's getting all the goals there. I think the true marker of how good Martinez is how he does without Lukaku in the side. That'll be what's really interesting.
You're watching his output. He feels like he needs another striker next to him, that big lanky striker to play off with. Because as a lone striker, he's a fish. I'm not even joking. Like, his ability to score chances is really low. His XG is really low, and I get what I'll give Lautaro Martinez. He creates more chances than Isaac for sure. But me personally, all round, Isaac, you're getting similar to how you guys rate Lukaku and Haaland. Not tons of level.
I just want to say, guys,
but business.
Oh, one there.
Penalty in the 89th minute. I got it.
Wow, Maddison better be Maddison. From what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I still think Martinez is better than Isaac. Like, I would like to counter argue both for this. Wouldn't you say Serie A is more of a defensive league than La Liga?
No. He definitely used to be, but Serie A's got. Actually, Serie A's definitely got. I was wondering how this would actually sway, but Serie A's defending is a little weaker, I'd say, than La Liga, because La Liga's the older league now, and it sits back a lot and it defends a lot deeper. Serie A's a lot higher pressing, and it still makes a bit of errors. So if it's why I'd still back a strike. If a striker's performing in La Liga, I might slightly take that over Serie A. I think Serie A's goalkeeping was a bit worse than La Liga too.
You're expert. You hit it on the nail. You hit it on the nail. I couldn't agree any more. Well, I'll tell you what, is performing worse than Isaac in a less competitive, in a less, in a less harder league. Serie A is easier than La Liga, especially for strikers. Especially for strikers, La Liga, because they sit deep. It's no, you go stats. Majority of the teams in La Liga, they sit deeper than Serie A, and you guys would be shocked by that. So Isaac is performing better than Martinez in that, especially. It's a good sign. You know what I mean? I personally think I would go for Isaac over Martinez. I honestly believe Martinez is, well, it's not my preferred choice, but we'll just have to see how it goes. Speaking of La Liga, should we get straight into Messi then?
Yeah, we've only got 10 minutes with Alex, so go on.
Yeah,
go for it.
So, what's your thoughts on Messi, Alex? Let me let you speak because you're off this.
It's hilarious, but I think the whole thing's absolutely hilarious from every single angle. I mean, the fact that he wanted to leave last year and he's been brought round. He's so close. He's so close to staying, and then he just has to go anyway. And he's gonna have to go to play for PSG. Well, he's gonna form arguably one of the best front lines of all time. It's so funny, and just it's the blame game as well. Barcelona trying to blame it on La Liga as if they haven't managed themselves into financial oblivion. The fact that Joan Laporta was like, if I'm president, Messi will stay, and now he's gonna have to answer to the fans. The fact the fans up until now were calling it all fake news and all a load of media rubbish, and now it's all blown up in their face. Every single facet of it is hilarious in football terms. I couldn't stop laughing on Thursday. But from a player's perspective, yeah, him going to PSG is going to be great. I mean, the people saying front three. It is PSG on the Pochettino play 4-2-3-1. So really, it's actually going to be it's going to be. Oh, I actually just edited a video on this. I reckon it's going to be Messi in attacking midfield, and then I'd say Mbappe up front, Neymar on the left, and Di Maria on the right.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, people say people forget as well. People forgetting about Di Maria. He's still one of the best players in Europe at the moment. His vision's improved so much as he set piece taking. So, as a Ligue 1 fan, it's great for the league in general as well. I think all you hear now is about the TV rights deal and how it's destroying Ligue 1, when it's definitely been over exaggerated. And with Messi coming in, I think it's almost reversed, because you're going to get so many eyes on Ligue 1. It's just going to elevate it to a new level. So I've enjoyed this story on every angle.
Yeah,
I personally, as I said, when you're talking about the football's perspective on how Messi fits in PSG's side, as you said, Alex, it'll probably be like that. But when I saw Messi leaving, it really shocked me. But just before I carry on, EuroExpert, are you an Arsenal fan?
No, I'm neutral. Neutral.
That's why we were laughing. So
I was going to say, you speak like a true Arsenal fan in terms of seeing you're happy that Barca is in financial oblivion. For me personally, this is their fault. The way they've deferred quickly on Barcelona before deferring onto Messi. The way Barcelona have crippled their financial situation, their stability. They've gone away from the ideals of Johan Cruyff in the belief of La Masia, to the point where La Masia is not as profitable as it used to be. They've completely gone away from that to try and copy basically the Real Madrid model. And
yeah, it's amazing.
Paying the price for it. So for me personally, fans in the past, yeah, I can help but laugh. They've done us in the past. We're talking about the Champions League final. We're talking about our players in Fabregas, Son, Vermaelen. Remember, there was that running theme. Any world-class Arsenal player would go to Barcelona or something. So, for me personally, I can't help but laugh at their situation, to be honest. And that's the case of what happens when you don't manage your situation correctly and you end up like that in financial oblivion. They're losing one of the greatest players of all time, a player that... Do you guys ever think we'll see again? Do you honestly
Messi
see Messi again?
Yeah, I think we will. I think people said the same thing about like Pele, and they said the same thing about Cruyff and Maradona. I think football just keeps getting better and better.
But the thing is, what I would, but that's my counteract to that, mate. When have you ever heard of a player that gets 91 goals in a calendar? That is disgusting. Like Haaland, I think you know what you were describing Haaland earlier. Like I think the highest he got on a calendar was 46. Double that. That doesn't even match Messi. Nowhere close.
No, I think there'll be. It's just quite natural. I think someone else will. It's quite a boring way of looking at it for me, but just because football keeps getting better and better, the standard will always improve. So someone will there'll be another Messi, but
I go. Do you, because of the way the football standard is improving, there won't be that. You know, when I'm talking about
no, there will. Even Mbappe or Haaland could do it.
Player from the past that will stand up above the rest because the quality, as you said yourself, is getting higher and higher and higher. So the standard is going to be ridiculously high. Look how high the bar Messi set for himself. Who's honestly going to catch that? Honestly,
it'll be natural for someone. If no one ever catches Messi, then that means football's gone downhill. Which I just don't think there'll be someone who catches him.
You think someone will catch? It's just for me personally that watching Messi, man, there's never been a player for me who can manipulate the ball the way he does. Just technically, just out of this world. Technically gifted, and the way Messi just dribble past players. We're talking about Henri, Eto'o. Remember that story that Henri came out with when he described Messi, and he said the way he got. When does a player ever go to Victor Valdez, demand, give me the ball, and run through the whole Barcelona team in their prime, by the way? Remember that the Barca team that Barcelona had back in the day, with that those superstars, Eto'o, Henri, ran through the whole team. That whole team. It's not like school. It's not like school where you're running, where you have that kid who's obviously miles better than all the rest of the schoolboys, and he's taking the piss. He was taking the piss out of elite football players just because he was pissed off. It's bizarre to me, and I just find it. I'm just like, when are we ever realistically gonna see a player like Messi again, like that type of caliber? I just find it like, where's it gonna even come from?
Come from anywhere. Messi came from a shoddy little village in Argentina.
Yeah, who knows? Tony could be the next Messi. You never know.
Nah. Messi in video editing, maybe, but nothing in football now.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting, the whole thing. I do find it funny. But I will say as well, people are acting now as if Messi's gone, no one's ever going to watch La Liga. And like, there was a La Liga before Messi, there'll be a La Liga after Messi, especially when Real Madrid likely get Mbappe next year.
Will it be a La Liga there'll be definitely a La Liga, but will it be the same La Liga? The quality, as you said, is just not going to be the same. You're not going to see the same. Would you say La Liga? Because they used to say after the Premier League, La Liga was the second best league in football. I wouldn't even say that anymore. I would.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not. It's not. Bundesliga's far of it.
Yeah, Bundesliga, or even the French league.
Nah. I think this is the interesting thing. I think if Messi moves to Ligue 1, that could be. I think that might get looked back on as a sort of symbolic moment where Ligue 1 really powers on, because quietly it's been pushing forward. Yeah, it's quietly been pushing forward in terms of quality for the past 4 or 5 years since Monaco really won the league. And I think if Messi comes in, I think that elevates it to a new level and a new. There's a lot of people who I know now are just watching Ligue 1. They're like more than level, like especially because it's in the UK as well. It's on BT Sport. I think it's very accessible. I think the TV rights deals actually kind of helped that. I've got Amazon in Europe broadcasting it. So I think there's a lot. The Ligue 1's definitely on the verge of it, whereas La Liga, this will be a down point for it. I think it will rebound. With Real Madrid and Barcelona, it's always going to have high points and always going to be second or best. But yeah,
La Liga is for me. It's gonna take 4 or 5 years to rebuild its league status. As you said it yourself, loads of people are watching Ligue 1, and it's the quality of talents they're producing. You know what I mean? So the talents they're producing in Ligue 1 and the Bundesliga are just far higher. And that's why I want a player like Isaac. The quality in the La Liga is completely different. He's one of the best in La Liga. I would personally go for him. On his own, he's probably been one of the standout young talents in La Liga anyway, alongside Arizabal from Real Sociedad. But that's a topic we'll discuss another day. But another point I wanted to make about Messi joining Barcelona, as you said it yourself, the eyes will be on the Ligue 1. I know they went through, I think, some brand TV deal. Finance. That will not be a case. Definitely, if Messi joins there, definitely a whole load of TV rights companies will want to buy it. And it will be interesting. I'm watching Liga more now this season, and the Bundesliga, especially now that Sky have bought rights to it. I'm not sure if you guys need Sky bought rights to the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
And now going to be one I'm keeping an eye out for. So Bundesliga, Liga, and then Bundesliga, Liga, and La Liga is that. I think that's the way. That's the level of how the leagues are. So it'll be for me the Prem, then it'll be Bundesliga, then it'll be Liga, and then it'll be La Liga in terms of quality of the league. But that again is my opinion. And another thing I wanted to quickly go on: Messi's wages that he would be at PSG would be mad. Like I think on Barcelona he was on 1.3 million a week. Yes, it will probably be reduced, but I think his wages on PSG would be high. And if that happens, if he goes on the reported, what I'm seeing is 1 million, I think it will have an effect on, as I mentioned earlier, the trickle-down money effect, where players now demand more on a week or wages-wise. So again, as I reiterate, it will change the financial scape with players demanding more money weekly. No matter how good the player is, like, you know, you see Messi with 1.3 million, and then you have, like, I don't know, Haaland. Like Haaland, for example, who would demand probably 400k a week. Then another player would demand 200k a week, slightly under him. Don't forget Mbappe as well. So for me, the wage structure, for me, with this Messi deal will completely change, and it will go higher. You know, and players will be demanding more from me.
Yeah. I guess I'll have to go in a second, but yeah, final thoughts on it. I think it is for everyone outside of Barcelona, Real Madrid, and La Liga. It's a very, very good move. Very, very very good move. But I know Tony's had to go. I guess I have to head off as well. Dan, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Thanks to the guy in the comment as well. Keeping in touch. The gamer. Thank you very much for staying in. And thanks for having me, Dan.
Thank you for coming on. We would love to have you on again. It's been great. We've got a video next week, so I'll probably message you about that. It's going to be about Prem predictions, and it'll be great to have you on again. So thank you, EuroExpert. Thank you, Tony. I don't know where he's gone. But we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.